Hello everyone, this is DM Gashbad, and I have another battle report for you for the Batman miniature game. Now, for those of you who may be wondering if this is a channel just dedicated to the Batman miniature game, no, it is not. It just happens that at this time, this is the kind of game that I can get the most games in, and so I'm producing more of that. Also, for whatever reason, there isn't as much content being created for this game as there used to be. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fill the void a little bit. I'm trying to produce stuff so that people can go onto YouTube, they can see stuff for the Batman miniature game. If more people start taking over, maybe I'll shift to other things, or if the gaming group moves on to other games, you'll see more of that. But for the time being, it looks like it's going to be a lot of Batman stuff, which hopefully is okay with most of you. Anyway, I got a game in with our local sidekick. He's the one that ran the tournament recently. You may have seen my reports on that. It may be that he didn't get to play in that tournament because, of course, he was running it, so he thought he'd like to get a game in against me, see how he does. And so, yeah, we've got a brand new crew that I've had most of these models painted for a long time. Initially, my idea was I was going to make a small Green Arrow crew, I was going to make a small League of Assassins crew, and I was going to introduce the game to some of my friends. We're going to play like a 200 rep games, that kind of thing. Anyway, that never actually happened. I never actually got my group to bite on this game. So I had this small League of Assassins crew sitting around, and I finally, after the tournament, went and painted the last model or so that would allow me to take a full 350 crew and use it in a game. So that's what I'm going to do. You're looking at it right now. Right there, front and center, we have Nyssa Al Ghul. Now, Nyssa is a great character from the Arrow TV show. I'm a big fan of her. I'm not sure why Knight Models chose to make a model of her over other characters from the TV show, but I'm glad they did. It's kind of interesting what they did. It's reasonably faithful to how she appears in the show, except they really shortened up her jacket coat thing. They really decided that she needed to be showing more leg in that model. But, whatever. She's a sidekick for League of Assassins, and so she is going to function as my boss in this game. I'll go over the henchmen next. So from left to right, first we have Shadow, a ninja with a bow staff and a smoke grenade. Next to him we have League Agent 2. She's got throwing knives. I also gave her combat bracers, giving her the defensive skill. League of Shadows has some really cool equipment on their list. I mean, I guess most crews do, but they've got some really nice stuff. And the defensive bracers are one of the things that I wanted to put on somebody because they're real cheap and the defensive rule is really nice. Unfortunately, a lot of these League agents have super low willpower. I don't foresee them having a lot of extra dice just lying around to put into defense. But, we'll see how it goes. So skipping over my two bigger characters and going on to the other side, we have League Agent 3. League Agent 3 is awesome. She's got the katana. I gave her a grapple gun. My intent is to get her forward to start slicing up people as fast as I can. In the back, there's another great character for the henchmen. That's Seeker. He's armed with a bow. So I gave him bow training, which gives him the shooter rule, which I can do because Nyssa is in the group. As a side note, the equipment list for League of Shadows has a bunch of really great equipment if you take Nyssa Al Ghul, but only the Arkham Knight version, which thus far doesn't exist. But that's a real crying shame because then you can start giving people bows and katanas, and I'm a little jealous. I wish they did that for the regular Nyssa from the TV show, but there you go. Anyway. Seeker I gave bow training to. I also gave him an extra magazine. He's got two different kinds of arrows. He has a regular standard arrow and he's got a poison arrow, which gives the paralyze effect. So when I went to give him an extra magazine, of course, I gave him the extra poison arrow. So on the far right, we have League Agent 1. She has no extra equipment. That's also a great weapon on her, is that defensive, like, comma and sickle. That's really neat. But the big news is standing right to the left of Nyssa, we have the biggest murder machine to come out for the Batman miniature game 5 years ago. That's the Arkham Origins Deathstroke. This guy is a monster. So he's freshly painted. He's basically all that I added to this group to bring him up to the full 350. I'm excited to see what he does in the game because he's pretty terrifying. So here's a shot of the table that we're going to use. I'm going to discuss my opponent's list right now. So he's using a Brave and the Bold crew, and he's trying out some new things for this one. Number one, we have Batman, Arkham Knight version, and he's a bit of a monster himself. So we've got two really high rep cost characters. Batman comes in at 150. Of course, Deathstroke comes in at 145. So he's everything you would expect Batman to be. He's also equipped with some sort of armored cowl, which means he's immune to crits. I believe he also has a thing that gives him a little extra endurance. He's going to be a real problem for me. I honestly think Deathstroke could probably take him, but we'll see how all that turns out. Anyway, he also has... actually, I'll just go over my opponent's deployment while I do this. So Batman, you can see that pale-colored shipping container over there. He's perched up on that, I believe. My opponent took... I think he took the fast advance strategy and also patrol, which allows him to deploy one character a little bit forward. So Batman is that guy. So he's jumped forward into the table. He's got Damien Wayne. Damien Wayne is positioned on my skyscraper over on the right. Can't really see him. He's also got Azrael, the Arkham Knight. You can't really see either. He's behind the blue shipping containers over on the left. He has Alpha, the SWAT team guy with the assault rifle. Gotham Police Man is over on the left, hiding behind that blue shipping container stack. And Gotham Police Woman is kind of dead center behind a crate up at the top. The scenario that we're playing is Plunder. So again, my opponent took Fast Advance and Patrol. For my strategies, I took Fast Advance. Man, Fast Advance is really important, I feel, in a scenario like Plunder, where you get lots of victory points for claiming these objectives. I also took Vandalism because he has some nice guns in his list, and I don't want to get shot. I don't feel confident in the level of shooting that my League of Assassins is bringing to the table. So I got rid of a lamppost, which was kind of stationed nicely in the center of the table, just past that big stack of red and blue shipping containers right there. I didn't want Alpha gunning down my guys as I tried to grab those objectives. Here's the thing: I really want to grab those objectives. That's my primary goal here. I'm gonna get the bonus victory points for claiming first two objectives at the same time. Because I have found that if you do that, then it's really hard for the opponent to catch up. Here's a slightly different shot of our setup, kind of more from a ground's eye view. I am going to take the lead this round, which is, of course, what I'd rather my opponent take the lead in the first round, but in this case I have to. Let me mention my deployment really quick. So I've got League Agent 1 and League Agent 3 over there on the left. Their job is to go grab my Titan container. I also stuck Deathstroke way up there. He's undercover, and so he positioned himself. What he's going to do is he's just going to spring forward, and he's going to go beat up Arkham Knight. That is my job for him. Over on the right side of the helipad, we have Shadow, the guy with the stick and the smoke grenade. To the right of him, we have Seeker with his bow. Off over, you can't really see him. On the right of that pile of shipping containers, we have Nyssa, and we have League Agent 2 with her throwing knives. My opponent's ammo objective is right in the center of the table. It's going to be hotly contested by all those guys surrounding it. My other two objectives are both in the skyscraper. I have a loot and I have an ammo container. I'm going to send Nyssa and League Agent 2 to go get those. He's got a loot on the far side of the skyscraper, and he also has a Titan container over on the right as well, kind of by that fence. You can just barely see it. Like I said, I got the lead, and so I am absolutely going to take advantage of that. Deathstroke, he's not going to waste any time. He's going to come and he's going to beat up Arkham Knight. I absolutely think Deathstroke can take this guy, and I have very little fear of retribution. It's just something I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but Deathstroke has Acrobat, so he can dodge bullets. He's also got Defense 5, so he's just not going to get hit a lot. And he's also a martial artist, so even if my opponent takes a bunch of people and piles them into him, he's not getting that bonus to hit. So I'm just not really concerned about people ganging up or spending a lot of time trying to take out Deathstroke, because I think he can take it. I think even if Batman swoops down, Deathstroke can hang in there. Anyway, he's going to come up and he's going to take out that stick. I really like that stick weapon, his reinforced staff. And he's going to go beat up Arkham Knight. Or he's going to try. Arkham Knight had some defense dice. My rolling wasn't fantastic. I only get one hit through in total, and of course Arkham Knight has a Kevlar vest, so he takes only a single stun from all of Deathstroke's attacks. So that's pretty disappointing there. I'm maybe a little bit concerned after that. I'm not concerned for Deathstroke, but I'm worried maybe he isn't going to do the damage that I need him to in this game to justify that rep point cost. My opponent passes, can't do anything about that. So I've got some options right here. Now the thing is, I've got Arkham Knight and I've got Batman, and they've got movement. They've got all the movement they need. So I can either hang back and just stay away from these two combat monsters and let my opponent move up. Or I can go ahead with my plans and I can just accept, especially Batman is going to take out someone. Just go ahead with my plan, accept that these guys are going to do the damage, and just try and soldier on anyway. And so that's what I do. So I take League Agent 1 there. She's been set up with 3 movement and 1 defense. I would have liked more defense because her defensive weapon is really nice. However, as I said, primarily what I want to do is grab these objectives, and so I needed all those movement dice to go do that. So that is what she's done. She's just run straight forward and she is claiming that Titan objective. Now it's a similar view, but something important has changed. Arkham Knight activates next. He's not in any mood to take any of that. He just saunters up. Arkham Knight, by the way, is equipped with the Bat Armor upgrade, so he has additional movement and Bat Armor save of 6+. Anyway, he moves up and he just takes out League Agent 2 just right away. Just chops her up with that sword, sets her on fire even, not that it matters, but she's gone. I lost a dude. That's too bad. So I counter. League Agent 2 also has undercover, so she moved up pretty far forward. She's going to go straight into that skyscraper and she's going to grab my loot. So it's my opponent's turn. He's going to take Gotham Policewoman and he's going to move her up behind that dumpster in the center of the table. I've got to move somebody, so I decide it might as well be Seeker. Seeker is going to move up, he's going to spend a counter for good aim, and he can, volume to volume, catch a line of sight to Gotham Policewoman. So he's going to fire an arrow at her. As you recall, he's got the shooter skill, which is why I moved him up, so that he can ignore that ping. Between the +1 to hit for good aim and all that, he manages to fire a standard arrow into Gotham Policewoman, handing her 2 blood. So that's cool. Alpha doesn't have any clear targets right now, partly because I got rid of that lamppost. So he's just going to move up and I believe crouch behind those oil drums. Shadow, Shadow doesn't love being around Batman and Alpha, so he's going to creep off to the right. I've got a lot of objectives over there, so I'm thinking maybe he can help out with maintaining possession of those things. Here comes Batman. All right, this is what I was worried about. Batman zips in with his bat claw and he lands on that helipad and he's going to go and kick Seeker in the face with his 5 attacks. Now, Batman goes and does the bat whiff. He comes in, I don't know if flying in, he goes over a vent and gets pushed off into the air, but he spends all 5 attacks and he doesn't come up with a single wound. So Seeker takes no damage from Batman's attacks. And I think, wow, that was stupidly lucky because he could have easily just knocked that guy out in 1 combat round. So speaking of bat claws, I've got League Agent number 3. She's there with her katana. She's going to zip in. She's going to base that Titan objective and she's going to draw herself a dose of Titan. Gotham Police Man does not want to deal with Deathstroke. He is not excited to do that. He's going to go and hide behind those shipping containers. Nyssa, as part of the plan, she's going to go and claim that ammo objective. Now, originally I had planned on zipping her up to the top of that skyscraper and using her bow, but in the long run I decided it would be much better for me to run in and grab that objective, get those bonus victory points. I just wasn't super confident that her one-shot around was going to do a lot to that fire base that my opponent had established in the center of the table. It's kind of hard to see in this picture, but what Damien Wayne comes in and does is he zips down to the ground floor next to that manhole cover in the center of the skyscraper. He's going to throw his batarangs, batlings, whatever, wingdings, whatever they're called. He's going to do 2 stun to League Agent number 1. He's going to knock her down. But he doesn't base her, so she still gets victory points for the loot that she's carrying. And she's not out yet. Okay, so it's a new round. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have League Agent 3 use her Titan dose because she is probably not going to last long one way or the other. I'm also going to take the lead, so that's nice. This is a good round to do it. And so after a little bit of pondering, there's a lot of opportunities all over the table. I decide I'm going to activate Shadow. Shadow has a plan. Shadow's going to lob his smoke grenade at Batman, who fortunately, not that I knew this, does not have the detective vision or any of that stuff. So the smoke grenade will actually work against him. And I luck out. I throw that smoke grenade right behind Batman and I catch him in there. So I basically get a turn without Batman. Batman's stuck. He's hitting and defending on 6s. He can't spend his movement dice or use ranged weapons. So I'm real happy about that. My opponent's turn, I may have actually given him this idea the round before. I looked at the Gotham Policeman. I'm like, oh good, Gotham Policeman doesn't have a counter in special, so he can't go and light up Deathstroke and have Alpha fire at him. Well, I think that may have given my opponent an idea. So sure enough, this round, Gotham Policeman sure enough did have a counter in special. He runs up, lights up Deathstroke, and he immediately goes for a let's go on Alpha. Alpha, thankfully, fails that roll, and so I get an activation before I'm going to have to catch some bullets with Deathstroke there. Deathstroke decides that he doesn't love this whole scenario, so he's going to run in and he's going to say hello to Arkham Knight with his reinforced staff. Deathstroke does a lot better this round, so he manages to get 3 stuns and a knockdown on Azrael. So Azrael's definitely hurting at this point. So not liking being being next to a ninja with a katana and being knocked down on the ground, my opponent activates Azrael next. He moves over to get into base-to-base with League Agent 3, but he does not manage to do much to her. He didn't have to spend a counter to stand up because he is an acrobat, but he did just lose whatever defense dice he had plus his the counters he had to lose for getting beaten on the head. And besides, League Agent 3 is currently on Titan, so she goes up to Defense 4, so she's doing all right. Having things kind of settled over there on the left-hand side of the board, I decide I need to try to stabilize some stuff elsewhere. League Agent number 1 stands up and moves with her loot. Now I can't actually get away because Nyssa is blocking that corridor, but I can kind of shuffle over a little bit just to stay away from Damien Wayne. Batman, not having a lot to do because he's coughing and blind, tries to kick Seeker in the head a bunch. Now, he still has 5 attacks, so even hitting on 6s, it's not unheard of that he's going to get some wounds through. But again, Batman does his bat whiff, and he does not come up with any hits. But he does wander over and claim that ammo objective in the center of the table. So now we are on to League Agent number 3. League Agent pulls out that katana and makes a mess of Azrael. So she sends him down and he is KO. I believe she hands out 3 blood total. Well, Damien is a bit of a commando here. He comes in and he just uses his regular fists, no reinforced gloves or anything, and he knocks out League Agent number 1. She's got to drop the loot. She drops it behind her so Damien can't grab it. But yeah, so Damien did pretty well for himself. Nyssa was a little worried by something. She put all of her dice into defense because she was concerned Batman was going to just jump forward and try to take her out. So she's actually not set up to do much in the way of offense. But she can come over and she can grab the loot and she's still basing that ammo. So, I do get that. Gotham policewoman is moving into the building. She's almost certainly looking to go and arrest a League agent. I got Seeker up next. Seeker's going to jaunt forward. He's going to fire another standard arrow into Batman across that ammo container. He's going to miss. He's not going to do anything to Batman, which is too bad, but he is preventing Batman from getting those victory points. It's a new round. My opponent takes the lead this round. Unfortunately, Azrael in the last recovery phase, he managed to wake up. So first thing first, my opponent is going to activate Azrael. He is going to stand up. He is going to cut League Agent 3 into tiny pieces, and that's going to be it for him. Oh, one other thing to note in the beginning of the phase, Deathstroke did grab a Titan dose last round, so he's going to take his Titan this round. So, but Azrael's doing real well for surviving 2 rounds of combat against Deathstroke. He has managed to take out 2 of my guys. So that's no joke. Seeker's got an opportunity right here. He's going to take his poison arrow that causes paralysis and he's going to fire it at the now unblinded Batman. So he shoots at Batman using his good aim and all that kind of stuff, and he misses, which is too bad because that would have taken Batman out of this round again, which would have been fantastic. However, Seeker does get to pull another ammo from that ammo container, so he's got his full 2 poison arrows left, but it's not looking great for him. Damien makes his move. He's going to come up. He's going to try and attack Nyssa. Nyssa is set for defense. Again, she's worried about Batman. She's worried about Damien. So she doesn't take any damage. Damien's also got this technique thing where he causes paralysis if he gets a wound through. But again, it's good that Nyssa has that defensive knife and is just kind of a tough agent to begin with. So she's okay. But she does not want to go deal with an unparalyzed Batman. So she's going to pick up her loot, she's going to run off, she does not want to get close to Mr. Bruce Wayne, and she's going to go base that other loot, my opponent's loot. Okay, so we're going to do this again. Gotham policeman's going to run up, he's going to shine his flashlight on Deathstroke, and he's going to point furiously at him so Alpha can see. But Alpha, again, I guess his radio is being jammed by those clever League agents. He again fails his let's go roll and does not get to shoot. I guess I'm just not too worried, because even though Deathstroke has the opportunity to move away, not get shot, I decided to do something else. Shadow is going to get away. Again, the number one job right here is to get away from Batman. We don't want to be near him. So Shadow's going to run up, and he's going to base that loot as well. Nyssa can't actually pick up my opponent's loot because she's already carrying one. So if everything goes according to plan, Shadow's going to pick that up next round, and we're going to try to not be there. Alpha gets his turn. Alpha gets to shoot at Deathstroke through all those pings. He only hits once. Deathstroke's got plenty of movement dice. He easily dodges out of the way, doesn't take any damage. And in his turn, Deathstroke decides that he's had enough of this Arkham Knight nonsense. He pulls out his sword to finish the job, and he slashes Arkham Knight apart. And that's the end of him. Gotham policewoman walks up and arrests League Agent number 1. League Agent number 2. That's not great, but at least her fate seems to be better than League Agent 1 and 3 over there by Azrael. Batman, having seen most of the other League agents run away from him and not eager to jump into combat with Deathstroke, comes over. He's going to finish the job with Seeker, but again, does absolutely no damage. So, shockingly, after firing, a total of 15 attacks in the 3 rounds, and granted one of those he needs 6s, he has not landed a single point of stun on this ninja, who is obviously the world's best ninja. So it's a new round, and my opponent takes the lead this round. And we are going to do this again. Gotham policeman, man, that brave guy, he gets commendation at the end of this battle for sure. He's going to go and he's again going to shine that flashlight on Deathstroke. This time, Alpha has managed to turn on his radio. He gets the message and he opens fire. Again, he hits only once and Deathstroke easily dodges that. Speaking of doing the same thing again, Seeker is going to grab another poison arrow. He's going to scoot backwards from Batman, because no thank you. And he's going to again fire that poisoned arrow at Bruce Wayne, and again he misses, which is too bad. Damien runs in and he's going to try and win this battle for the brave and the bold. He comes in with his special technique and he punches Nyssa a bunch. He does not manage to cause any damage to Nyssa, but he does manage to knock her down. So he gets a duplicate on the collateral die. This is good news to me. If he had caused any damage, Nyssa would have lost all her dice, and I wouldn't have been able to move away, which would have been terrible. I wouldn't have even, well, I could have stood up, I guess, because I'm an acrobat. I don't have to spend a counter for that. But again, this is good news. It's not great that I'm knocked down, but it's fantastic that I still get Nyssa's activation. Deathstroke is about tired of having the spotlight on him. He reaches out with his reach weapon and he just pummels poor brave Gotham policeman into the dirt. And so he's taking a little nap, and Deathstroke just meanders about to the other side of this Titan container, happily claiming those victory points. Batman, again, not having as many options as he would like, moves up. I guess he's just tired of dealing with this Seeker guy. He's going to try and stop this loot from escaping. He's going to jaunt past Seeker and fire batarangs. But he, again, does not come up with any hits. This is the worst Batman. Nyssa, on the other hand, gets up, moves off, uses her good aim, and plants 2 blood from an arrow onto Damien Wayne. Gotham policewoman moves up. She's going to try and get that loot that these bad guys are trying to make off with. But she's a little bit too slow. Shadow is going to pick it up and he's going to run off. And that will bring us to the next turn, where I, thankfully, am going to take the lead. And job number 1 is not having Nyssa get beat up by Batman. So she's going to pick up that loot. She is going to hook arrow herself over that cop car and just be not there. She does fire an arrow on her way out, but she misses Damien. Somewhat disappointed that he can't beat up the leader of my crew. Batman backtracks. He's going to finish off Seeker. We're going to get rid of that guy. Yet again, Batman misses and does not cause any damage. So at this point, we are absolutely convinced. There's one of two things. Either this is the Batman imposter with the hockey gear from the Dark Knight, or at the end of this battle, this ninja is going to pull off his mask, and it's going to be Nyssa Al Ghul. And it's going to be like, surprise! That's just the sneaky thing these League of Assassins guys would be doing. Regardless, this is clearly no ordinary ninja. He's definitely some kind of master level guy, and we've just tricked everybody into thinking he's some ordinary punk. As if to prove that correct, my activation next is going to be Seeker. He's going to just move away from Batman. He's going to fire his poisoned arrow, and he's going to take out Gotham policewoman. She's going to be trucked off to Gotham City Hospital. Damien, not being able to chase down those super stealthy, speedy ninjas, he's just going to go over and he's going to base that Titan objective, get himself some victory points. Shadow thinks that his boss is on to the right idea. He's going to pick up his, he's going to carry his loot, and he's going to go hide behind that police SUV. And here comes Alpha. Alpha is going to finish the job that Batman could not. He's going to run over, he's going to base that ammo objective, and he's going to fire at Seeker. Well, surprise, Seeker is too awesome for everybody. It's not just Batman. Alpha does no damage to that ninja. Unfortunately, Alpha's bold move leaves him within range of Deathstroke. Deathstroke struts over, takes out that reinforced staff that's been doing so much work, and he smashes Alpha onto the ground, and he leaves him KO'd. So it's the last round of the game. My opponent is going to take the lead, and he has got one thing that he wants to do before he wraps it up. He's going to have Batman swoop in. Batman is going to prove to everyone that he is, in fact, Batman. He's going to jump in, and he's going to try and take out Deathstroke and just sort this whole thing out right now. He comes in, and Batman does better than he has this whole game. He has unloaded a flurry of attacks, and he manages to land 4 stun on Deathstroke. Deathstroke is not terribly worried. He's got plenty left. He turns around. He's going to go and finish off this imposter Bats. Unfortunately, he actually doesn't land any damage at all. But with that, my opponent says, you know what, that's all I wanted to do. This game is over. And sure enough, it is. I had accumulated a giant pile of victory points, and so it's clearly a League of Assassins victory. For those of you who are watching this battle report hoping for a nice, close, tactical victory with where the winner came out ahead by using a clever strategy and that sort of thing, I apologize. That's not how this battle turned out. Basically, My opponent had a giant 150 rep hole in his list, which was Batman, who just miserable, miserable luck this whole time. Didn't land any damage until that last thing. Spent 3 rounds trying to beat up that one ninja and not doing a single thing. Just ridiculous. There was shouting, there were threats, there was laughing. I really shouldn't, but it's just too ridiculous after a certain point. Anyway, poor Batman. I don't know what to tell you. This is not a game that you can draw many conclusions about just because my opponent's luck was so abysmal. And again, my luck for this game just continues on. I have some sort of touch of the fate going on right now. I can't explain it. I'm going to run with it. That's great. But it's weird. Anyway, I really liked how my opponent had deployed Batman. He took this really monstrous character and stuck him right in the middle of the table. I think he deployed him better than I deployed my Deathstroke, who was kind of off on the side, and if things had turned in the center, he might have had a problem getting back to the action. I can't really complain about how he did, obviously, but again, I think my opponent had a better idea with the deployment of his big character. Beyond that, the League of Assassins is kind of an interesting crew. My sense was that a lot of people think that they're a little bit underpowered compared to some other groups. I think maybe I can see that. They are interesting. They're not the Court of Owls. They're not going to just run up and carve everybody up. The thing that they really seem to be lacking is endurance. Like, their agents, while their stats are a cut above normal people, as far as attack and defense and all that kind of stuff goes, those League agents are only 4 endurance, and the ninjas are only 5. So they cannot take a punch worth anything. I mean, you saw those League agents, they got taken out, and they got taken out really quick. And Nyssa was worried, and the ninjas were all worried. It's one of those, it's the first game where I was thinking, am I gonna, like, I'm ahead in victory points. Like, I was leading from the very beginning, but I was starting to get concerned that my opponent would simply knock out so many of my guys that I would have to take that, whatever that test is, to see if your guys just straight up run. So that was a little nerve-wracking. And speaking of running, I think that's what League of Assassins guys are going to be doing a lot. I think they're going to be running away. They don't want to get stuck in a protracted firefight. The stealth ability is really nice. Granted, this was a little bit of a different list for me. I didn't have the regular katana ninjas that are like cut ahead of some of these other guys. I do really like the League of Shadows equipment. Like, not just the stuff that you can buy them, but the stuff that they come with. All those blood weapons with the rerolls, either for defense or attack, they are nice. I wish they were on people with higher stats, but maybe I'll pick up that League of Shadows starter pack and maybe get some of those higher level ninjas to really see if I can go to town on them. Deathstroke, I think, goes a long way to evening out that crew. Having a really powerful free agent that can come in, that can take a punch, that can dish out a lot of damage while your ninjas just speed around the table grabbing objectives and just staying out of sight with their stealth and that kind of thing. I think inadvertently I had stumbled upon something that maybe worked real well. As a side note, the concept behind this crew, as you know, I'm a big fan of the Arrow TV series, and of course when I saw they did a Nyssa from the show, I immediately painted her and a small crew to match. But I didn't really have anything else. I wish they had painted one more League of Assassins guy from the TV show to really fill that out. But at the end of season 4, Nyssa, Arrow, Deathstroke, Malcolm Merlin, they all end up on Leon Yu for the big finale. And so I think, hey, what if Nyssa and Deathstroke got along so well in that little mission that they decided after everyone else went home back to Starling City, they were going to continue on with their mission and seek out their personal vendettas. And so that's the idea, that it's Nyssa and her new friend hanging out with some of her old ninjas. And yeah, can't complain. I think that worked out pretty well. I've got some other ideas for crews. Maybe you'll see them. Maybe you'll see these guys come out. I don't know. Anyway, let me know if you have any thoughts or comments about this sort of thing. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one.